Kurt, what's amazing here, you and I have talked about Will Ospreay. He's known to the world to be the world-class wrestler. You mentioned it, Josh, as far as his reputation preceded himself. Outside of the injury stuff, are you nervous? You have nerves stepping in the ring with him for the first time here?
To a certain degree, yeah. I never really have nerves once the bell rings. When I'm in that ring, when the match starts, that's when the nerves all wash away. It's everything up into that point. Because whether it's OCD or whatever it is, I obsessively think about everything that could happen, everything that could go wrong, how I can fix it before it even happens. I'm trying to think like 10 steps ahead at all times, just to make sure everything happens as flawlessly as possible. And, we can make magic for everybody. And it's that, and it's the pressure both of, me getting an opportunity like this to showcase myself on a big stage, and it's against somebody like Will who has all eyes on him. And it's also the pressure of representing the company. I'm representing, Impact and TNA at this moment in that ring with one of the best in the world. So if I don't showcase myself enough to show that I can hang and be on his level, then I'm doing a disservice to the company as well in the locker room.
Good answer, Josh. Good answer. I noticed this match has been really technical. You guys are both really good technicians. Am I correct?
Yeah. Will, when he first started, he was just basically a high flyer. He could do every acrobatic thing better than anybody you've ever seen. But, in the last 8 years being in New Japan, he's really honed his skills as being a fully rounded wrestler, whether it's striking, technical wrestling, trading holds and stuff like that. He's like the full product. I can't say I've been in the ring with anybody better to this point.
Well, what do you think the Japanese fans prefer, technique or high flying?
Well, that's the good thing about being like a Japanese wrestling fan like myself. I actually went to Japan for the first time in October and wrestled for New Japan first time. And I found that they're very receptive to anything that's good. They don't care if it's technical wrestling, whether it's brawling, whether, it's big moves and acrobatics. As long as you're good and you do it at a high level and you take it seriously as a sport, they respect it, and you get that reception from the crowd, right?
Yeah, you know what? It's not like a crazy roar and cheer. It's more of a clap and, kind of, they're watching the whole time, but they don't go crazy. They kind of clap and they show that respect in that manner.
Yeah, and if you really get them, you get the big from the crowd, like that big thing, and that's really when you got them. Whereas if you're in Chicago or New York or one of these like huge hot wrestling markets in North America, people are going nuts, screaming, throwing things up and down. Right? It's a completely different atmosphere.
Yeah, that's when you get all the phrase chants going and all that good stuff. But so another thing that I was thinking about as I was watching the match and thinking about this with you. At what point are you told, hey, you're going to be wrestling him? Because this is after the AEW All In England. And I know it's a big deal for you. You said it. Hey, lots of pressure on me. All eyes on me. He's obviously a star. When were you told, hey, it's you. You're up. You're wrestling Will Ospreay?
I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks out from the actual show. Like, we knew that Will was showing up, that he was booked. Luckily, TNA has a very good relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling. And, it's been Will's dream to step foot in a TNA ring. He's always said that he was inspired by, AJ Styles when he did that shooting star press in that 3-way with Samoa Joe at Unbreakable in 2005. So this is just something he wanted to check off his bucket list before he might not have the opportunity to, right? So we knew he was coming in. And I found out 3 to 4 weeks prior to the actual match. And, I, as somebody who watches everything, like I do an hour of cardio every day, and I'm always watching wrestling, whether it's old stuff, new stuff. I try to keep up with everything. I knew exactly what I was in for when I was stepping foot in the ring with Will Ospreay. So
I noticed you did a power bomb knee drop. I never saw that before. Is that one of your trademark moves?
Yeah, the powerbomb backbreaker. It looks super devastating, and even when I'm stepping foot in the ring with somebody new, and they're kind of hesitant to take it, I have to tell them, I don't do anything that's going to hurt you. Trust me. Just trust me. And they're always pleasantly surprised when it happens, because it gets a reception from the crowd because it looks so devastating. But honestly, it's a very easy fall to take.
It's a really cool move, man. And it looks devastating. You're absolutely right.
I wish I could give credit to whoever I stole it from when I saw it on some, gift like 10 years ago, but
you're like, that's mine. And then it's, I like it. I want you to, if you can share a little bit with us, for those, obviously a lot of fans have watched a lot of Will Ospreay matches, but maybe you can go inside a little bit for us and talk about what's it like to put a match together with him? What's that process look like?
So I might think of this in a different way. I always kind of go from the hot comeback or the finish. And I worry about that. And I don't worry about anything at the early stage, the portions of the match, because I just don't know why my brain works better that way. Will he had a full outlook on what he wanted. He didn't care what moves were here or what was happening, but he knew the reactions he wanted for the story that he wanted to build. And I can't even describe what it's like. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. Him and Mike Bailey both kind of think of wrestling in the same way, where, you're going for these certain reactions at certain times to build up, but you're not thinking about what the things are that you're putting in. Where I'm different. I think of the things where I'm putting in to tell the story too, as well, right?
That's me too, man. I'm not one of those guys that says, "Hey, we'll put this in later."
Yeah. And everybody works differently, and you can't say that there's any one thing that works, because obviously it works really well for him, and what I've done has worked pretty well for me as well. But just to get to that next level and see, I've seen Kenny Omega in locker rooms put together matches and stuff like that. I've seen Will put together matches. I've seen Christian and worked with Christian and seen how he puts together matches. We're all a little bit different, but at the end of the day, we're all trying to tell a story out there to get a reaction from the crowd.
Was it different, considering it was TNA, that when they decided to change to TNA as opposed to when it was Impact?
Yeah. Well, you got to think that locker room, Kurt, is full of TNA fans, people that grew up watching the likes of, you, Sting, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Gail Kim, Awesome Kong. Like, our Knockouts locker room has to be, the majority inspired by the likes of Gail Kim and Awesome Kong, because women's wrestling wasn't really highlighted to let them just go out there and wrestle for 10 plus minutes until the Knockouts division started in TNA. And then the same goes for the likes of myself and Will Ospreay. We have similar stories. We're both inspired by the likes of Samoa Joe and AJ Styles and this X division stuff that was highlighted in a time we didn't think that was possible.
I honestly think that the X division made TNA. I really do.
Yeah, it definitely did, because it showed a different type of pro wrestling. And honestly, it inspired a whole generation, because for me in 2005, I was 18 years old. When I look at WWE, I'm looking at Batista and Randy Orton and all these larger than life guys that I know. I'm not 6'3". I'm not 245 pounds of muscle. There's no way I can do that. But then I saw someone like AJ Styles or Loki or Samoa Joe, and I'm just like, you know what? Maybe there is a spot where I can get into this, where I can find success as well.
If you're good enough, you're going to make it. You're absolutely right.
Kurt, as you sit here and you're watching this, as we watch this match together, and you watch Josh and you watch Will, how much are you just like, my God, if I 6 years younger?
What I love about Josh is he not everything's pretty. He struggles. It's not all like, get the move entirely right. You struggle a little bit, you keep working for it, then you finally get it. Like, he was doing a German at one point in time, and the guy grabbed the ropes and he couldn't get him over. And then eventually he got him over, but Will landed on his feet. But it's just, I like the matches being gritty. Okay. It should look real, and real is gritty. And if you do that, you're going to get a real reaction from the fans, because they're going to think it's actually real. And that's what I love about Josh. He has that grit about him.